So listen, Matt, let's jump in really quickly. I want to make sure that we talk through, how you were feeling before you made your first hire in Michelle. Take us back to what those thoughts were. Were you worried about paying a salary, all that kind of stuff? If you can bring us back to that moment, that'd be great.
Yeah, it had been a great year. 2020 was just out of control. With COVID and whatnot, it's still a phenomenal year. And I worked from home here and there. I saw my family a little more than I would usually, but I didn't actually see them. So at the end of the year, I guess it was probably towards August, September, when we started talking about making a hire. I just realized there was no way I wanted to ever go through that kind of year again, and it was only half over. So there was a lot of thoughts that went through my mind. How are we going to do this? How are we going to find, the right person, the empire builder? Sure, thinking about a salary, etc. That was definitely scary. It was just, there was a lot of thoughts going through my mind. I'd never done it before. I'd always been a solo practitioner, run and gun. And you and I and Steve had a lot of lengthy conversations about how this works, about what I have to look forward to. And at the end of the day, I just decided to just jump and trust you. And thank God I did.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to make Michelle talk to us a little bit about that. Obviously, we're going to need you to be brief, but Michelle, it's one of the things that Steve and I have been talking about a lot, along with Shawn, lately, and we call it this inflection point, right? An inflection point is defined by a time of significant change in a situation or a turning point in life, right? And we felt like we saw that on video for you. And so briefly, just share with us, what did you share with Matt and Steve that we were like, oh, that's it?
Yeah, absolutely. So in October of 2011, I was in a head-on car crash in which my car was hit directly at the driver's side and I went back into a pole and forward. I was luckily able to walk away, but I came out with a busted up ankle, to say the least. I now have 2 rods and 9 pins permanently in my ankle, and I had a broken wrist. So I spent 3 months in a cast and at home and not able to do anything, and had to go through the awful process of suing the other person, which, if you knew me a little bit, know that is not in my nature, but unfortunately it's what had to be done at that moment, and it killed me to do. But again, I had to do what was right for me and my family. And then I went through 3 crazy months of physical therapy and trying to get my ankle to move the way that it moved. There are still days that it doesn't do what I want it to do, and it still swells and it still affects me. But I look down and I go, you know what? I learned a lot in those 6 months. I really figured out who I was. I figured out what I wanted to do. I figured out friends, relationships, everything from one experience that, yes, it was awful, but it really taught me a lot.
I want to also, and I'll let Shawn, you can, if you have any other questions, but one of the things that I'd like to be able to do is have people be able to get in touch with you as well for referrals. So tell us what area you're in and how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. So we're based out of Bluebell, Montgomery County, and we do work throughout the entire 5-county area. So in terms of how to reach us, harnickteam.com. You're probably better off calling Michelle directly versus me, but you can call either one of us. It's either Matt or Michelle at harnickteam.com. That's probably, email's obviously phenomenal. I do want to say one thing real quick though, just to back up for a second. Not only do we, there's no way we would have achieved the level of success without Ciprani's training. When it came time, when we hired Stephanie, we actually specifically requested Ryan. They're all great, but we worked with Ryan last time and we were like, we really want to work with Ryan again. And you guys made it happen, so thank you. We really appreciate that.
Trust the process. I think that's the biggest thing I can say. I know that's like the quintessential Philly term of trusting the process, but it's 100%. Don't have any preconceived notions about what real estate looks like from a marketing perspective or an operations perspective, because you really can mold it to how it fits the business. And that's the biggest thing, is just take a leap of faith, trust that your training previous can apply to something new, because that's where I stumbled. I was like, I'm only an admin, like I've only done administrative stuff. How is that going to transfer into real estate? Guess what? All of my spreadsheet experience, it comes in. All of my customer service and answering phones and dealing with both positive and difficult clients, it comes in. So just know that what you've built upon for years before can apply to real estate. And when you've got Ciprani as your helper, you've got success written all over it.